Hi everyone, I'm Shelly from There's No Place Like Home at redheadmom8.wordpress.com. As someone who loves sharing quality literature with my children, I still wanted to make a video today in defense of that fluff reading, otherwise known as twaddle. So that's what the topic of today's video is. The hidden benefits of twaddle, aka shallow literature. You know, I am an avid reader. I love to read, and at any given point in time, I've got at least 4 books going at once. And this is something that I really want to instill in my children. I want to instill a love of reading into them as well, because there are so many things that you can learn just through the pages of a book. Now, as a homeschool mom, it is really, really important to me that I am giving my kids quality literature to read themselves, or that I am choosing quality literature to read to my children through read alouds. But I think that what is typically known as twaddle, which is kind of silly or fluffy reading, is really given a bad rap, especially in homeschooling communities. And you know, I just wanted to talk today really about 2 particular benefits that twaddle can actually give to you if you do include it, not just in your homeschool, but in your child's lifestyle. So first of all, when it comes to twaddle, I want you to remember this one thing. Everybody's brain needs downtime. Yes, quality literature is very refreshing and is very fulfilling, and it is a huge asset in our child's education. But the fact is that a lot of quality literature, such as classics, biographies, some living books, a lot of that is really an acquired taste. And a lot of quality literature does take a lot of brain processing for your child and for adults while they're reading it. And a lot of times it comes into, you need a lot of analysis. You need to try to figure out how the situations are working in the books, because a lot of the literature that we're talking about, this quality literature, it was written a long time ago. So it's not really written in a dialogue that we usually understand. So imagine how that is with our kids. I remember when I sat down and started reading Pilgrim's Progress to my kids, I was like, whoa, I had no idea that it was going to be that hard for me, someone who loves to read, to understand it, let alone my kids as well. And so I think it's really important that you do remember that, is that everybody does need downtime, their brains especially. If your brain is constantly analyzing and processing, I can tell you from experience, it is exhausting. So giving your child the opportunity to read twaddle once in a while is a nice break for their brain. It's a brain break. There are times when I am so mentally exhausted that I will plop myself down on the couch and I will just like binge watch my favorite show on Netflix or sometimes YouTube documentaries. And this is something that everybody needs, children and adults. So just because a book isn't necessarily something that you would choose for your kids to go with a particular lesson in your homeschool, that doesn't mean that you should never let your kids read it. And so another benefit of twaddle that I think a lot of people don't think about is that it is better for a child to read twaddle than to never want to read at all. If we are constantly insisting to our children that they are only reading books of a certain caliber, a lot of times that can make kids not really be very interested in reading. You know, kids like a lot of things that adults don't like. Kids like to read about robots. They like to read about animals that talk. They like to read about cartoon figures. There are so many different literature styles. And just because it isn't something, again, that you would choose for your child, doesn't mean that you should always tell them, no, I won't allow that in this house. Let your kids have the opportunity to choose the types of books that they are reading once in a while. Because if you have a child who is constantly being told what they have to read or what they can't read over and over and over again, very quickly I can see that some of those kids would just not be interested in reading anyway. You know, what's the point of reading if you can't get into the book, especially if it's every book that you have, because you just have no say in what you can read. So I want you to remember that. You know, do you have to let your kids read Twaddle all the time? Well, absolutely not. It is up to you as the homeschooling parent to decide what your children like to read. Although I do have to say, let them have an opinion on this. It matters. It matters a lot what they're going to have to say about this, because they're usually not going to pay much attention to a book that they have no interest in. So, you know, kind of intersperse their own choices into your reading selections throughout the year, and you will see the benefits of having a child who is more excited about reading if they know that their choices matter too. Anyway, that's all that I have for you today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet and would like to hear more of what I have to say, I would love if you would do that. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave one over on Instagram because YouTube disabled my comments. And if you like my work and would like to check out my Patreon page, I will leave a link in the description box for that as well. And I hope you have a great day.